You know, I was waiting for you to show up so we could take a look at this guy. It is the Transformer Siege, Optimus Prime, and he'll be our focus in the latest GotBot True review. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, it's fantastic that you dropped by. Please check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, Transformers Collectors, NL, me everywhere. Like, comment, share, and of course subscribe. And this is a new day, a new way, a new size class. Well, okay, it's not a new size class. It's a Voyager size class for the new Siege line. And this is the Autobot leader himself, Optimus Prime. And just how good is this guy? Because he, too, has undergone a price increase. Now, I've been doing guilty and innocent with the deluxe class figures, and so far we have 3 that are innocent, one of them barely, of having a justified price increase, or mostly, and 1 that was guilty. No, he is not worth the price increase. Not to say he's bad, he's quite good, but he's not quite worth the price increase, in my estimation. Things are a little bit different here, because the price increase is a little bit different. Instead of having an overall end effect of, you know, adding 33% to the price, this time we add about, in my neck of the woods, 25%. So, yeah, there's still an increase, but it's a little more palpable. You can swallow it a bit more because it's not as huge. Still kind of substantial, but not quite as bad. Is this guy worth it? Is he 25% better? 25% more Optimus Prime? Well, let's find out when we head over to the table and take a closer look at this guy. So Optimus is one of those guys that we've gotten 100 representations of, and I don't know if we've ever exactly hit on a perfect representation of him. And I don't know if this one does it either. We're about to find that out though, aren't we? So, there's a lot to talk about here. We're going to do a bunch of comparisons along the way. And not only are we going to, of course, grade them like we normally do, but remember, keep in mind, we're going to do guilty and innocent. Let's start off with the box, as always. And of course, indeed, what we have is a Siege box. It's fine box, I guess. I'm not digging this weird shape on it. It's not for me. He's a Voyager, nice Optimus Prime art here on the side. And of course, we have the product shot and the kind of cross promotion with like Battle Masters and stuff here on the back, and big ol' eyebrows Prime down there. And we have these gorgeous instructions. I like how they're doing these. They're folded nicely, and the pictures are pretty clear for the most part. Of course, what I like best about these is this page. It has the, I guess, tech specs for his accessories. Oddly, his axe is stronger than his ion blaster. I don't know how I feel about that. And so here's the axe. We have a nice molded Autobot symbol right there. It's a fine axe, I guess. It's not orange like his Energon axe, but like it's fine, I guess. We can fold this piece in, fold this piece up, and then you have this, and you can even fold the handle up, and now you kind of have like a shield, which I guess is like, again, I guess it's all right. I didn't really need the axe, but I guess it's cool to have nonetheless. We also have Optimus's iconic ion blaster, though I feel like the center section looks a little big and it's kind of hollow. It can accommodate one of those blast effect things if you wanted to, and because of a hole up here, you could even take the shield piece and put it up there and have like a double blaster thing, because that can also accommodate a blast effect on the end of the handle. Play value! And as I presume you would expect, Optimus of course can hold it right there in his hand. You can see blast effect on his shoulder and on his shin. There's one on either shoulder, one on either shin. There's probably even more, but that's the 4 that I know of. I feel like there's actually 6 on this guy though. In terms of other ports and whatnot, he has ones down on his legs, one's on his shoulders. He has a couple on his back, which I like. I'm just going to show a couple of configurations that we can do with his accessories, such as this lovely ensemble, where Optimus is welcoming spring with his blaster and shield. And he can even free up both of his hands for some summertime beach volleyball fun by storing both accessories on his back. Or of course, heading into the fall, he can store his ion blaster on his leg and free up his upper body for full motion as he swings his axe to cut down firewood for the winter. Yes, the accessories for Siege Optimus Prime. Is there anything that they can't do? Well, not really. They're actually really great accessories. Quite versatile. The ports on him are also very versatile. For example, he can look like this sort of weird lunacy, if you will. He has a lot of ports on him. A lot of ports. And I dig it. I guess I dig it, but I don't feel like Optimus is one of those guys that should have anything extra on him. Does he really even need it? I mean, come on, he's Optimus Prime, man. Is it something that he really even needs? Nevertheless, he can do it, and here he is all cogged up, of course. I don't know if I call this look good, but just the fact that he can pull it off is impressive in and of itself. And again, when I talk about all the ports on this guy, I forgot about the ones on the bottom of his feet. All these guys have 2 to 4 on the bottom of their feet alone. I mean, you can't, how do you deny it? Honestly, this is so weird and probably awful that it's great. It's like a B movie. It's not that it's good, this look isn't good, but it's so creative and interesting to see it come together. Or, well, to see it happen. I don't know if this look actually comes together or not. Alright, but now it's time for us to get serious and down to brass tacks. Yes, the guy has great play value, there's no doubt about it, even already, without looking at the core figure itself. But is he worth the increase? What kind of scores does he get, and is he guilty or innocent? Now, thus far, when we've looked at the price increases, the price went up by 50% in my neck of the woods, which meant an overall effect on the final retail price of an increase of 33 1/3%. That's a lot. This time, there is an increase again. It is not as egregious as it is with the deluxes. The original going price for a Voyager in my neck of the woods was $29.99, $30. These new Siege figures are $39.99. So they too have gone up by $10. They have taken a jump of about 30% if you were to work it out mathematically. The effect on the overall price is an increase of about 25% of the total value. So deluxes went up 33 1/3% of total value. Voyagers go up 25% of a total value. Yes, it's an increase. Maybe it's a little easier to swallow. It's still a huge increase. This isn't the first time we've seen this happen with Voyagers in my neck of the woods. As a matter of fact, back with Combiner Wars, when they first came out, the retail price was set at $34.50. Or, sorry, $34.99. And guess what? Those Voyagers didn't move off the shelves. Did not move until retailers dropped it back to the more recognizable $29.99. Then they started to sell. But at $34.99, they did not. A few years later, and the Last Night line came out. And that's where we first saw this increase. Because those Voyagers were $39.99. And admittedly, characters such as Last Night Hound and Last Night Megatron, pretty fantastic. But we're going to actually kind of compare this Optimus to the Last Night Optimus in terms of value for money, so to speak. But that's not where the comparisons to other Optimi are going to end. We need to see, is this guy truly worth it and worth, your time, your effort, and your money to put in your collection? Well, the paint apps first, because that's the easy place to start. I'm not a fan of the way the battle damage is done. There's no secret there. I may, and I have seen it done, I may remove it. If I do, I'll show that, but I've also heard that that's on their well. It's not easy to remove the battle damage, but taking that out of it, in the robot mode, this is Optimus Prime. There's no doubt about it. This is absolutely, positively Optimus Prime. In his truck mode, the colors are accurate. Is it absolutely, positively Optimus Prime? Well, we'll see that a little bit later. But I'll say this. It's so close to perfect, almost perfect, that when I see him in the robot mode, I'd love to give him a 10. But again, I can't do it. I can't do it because the truck mode is not perfect and the battle damage is not well done. Overall, this is definitely the best iteration of a Voyager class Optimus that we have gotten for catching the aesthetic of the character. But because of those couple of issues, I have to say that overall, his paint gets a score of 9. Still not bad, but a couple of decisions were made that shouldn't have been made that kept this guy from being an absolute 10 in that department. So what about articulation? Well, he rolls fantastic in vehicle mode. What about here? Well, we have a head that can go left, right, actually go all the way around. It can sort of look down a bit. It can look up without breaking the sculpt, though everybody says that it does. It doesn't look up very much, or you can look up even more and you sort of break the chest sculpt there a bit because it doesn't really tab in per se. We have arms that can go all the way around. Actually, I'm going to take the accessories off here now. We have arms that can go all the way around. They can go all the way out to the side. I think that that is a key piece of articulation for an Optimus Prime, and a lot of them fail miserably with it. This guy doesn't. It's done tremendously well. They have this flap out here. You can just push it down. I dig the way that that was done. We have an elbow to over 90 degrees. We have a bicep swivel. We have a wrist rotation. We have a waist swivel. We have a butterfly at the shoulders because of transformation, but we have a butterfly there. We have, what else? He can do the splits. The leg can go forward this far. It's like, the leg can go forward this far, and it's good. I wish it could go just a little bit more, but I get it because of the sculpting. It is further, I think, than other iterations of Optimus we've had, and I'll talk about that in a little bit too. It can go all the way back, which is great. We have a thigh swivel, but then we have a lower rotation here as well, so almost like a double swivel. We have a super duper deep knee, and we have pretty fantastic ankle tilt, which is not something we usually get. We even get toe and heel articulation, forward and back. Here's the thing, I don't think that there's anything more we could want for an Optimus Prime in terms of articulation, certainly at the Voyager class level and in the main line. I think that this is it. Articulation, 10. Now before we go into transformation, we do have something else that I want to talk about. I want to compare him to a couple of other versions very quickly. Here he is with everybody's go-to, the Power of the Primes, leader class Optimus Prime. Now to me, a leader class iteration of a faction leader is too big. It doesn't work for me. Optimus shouldn't be the same size as Jetfire. That's kind of my argument there. For me, I think he should be a Voyager. But if you believe, and your sensibilities tell you he should be a leader, then this is probably still the going norm for you. That being said, as good as he is, the leader class here does not have as much of a forward kick as the Voyager, and he doesn't have a waist swivel like the Voyager. In other words, the Voyager actually has a little bit more articulation, and the Voyager's paint apps are actually a little more accurate because his hands are blue. Just saying, man, just saying. But this is almost not a fair comparison because they're not the same size class. And here he is with the Evasion Mode Optimus Prime. I've done a lot of custom work on him. He has stood as my Autobot leader for a long time, man, because I haven't had anything come along that made me want to replace him. Why? Because I think that the alt mode of the Evasion Mode Optimus is pretty much perfect. And with the custom work I did, mix that with what is really kind of stellar articulation, certainly was for the time, it's hard not to like the Evasion Mode Optimus, although the transformation, admittedly, is dislikable, especially with those arms. Is the Siege one going to replace this guy? I really haven't decided yet because the alt mode is what's throwing me off. Nevertheless, one of these costs $10 less than the other one. Of course, the Evasion mode was the one that cost $10 less. And it's a little bit larger, at least in terms of height. We'll see in terms of actual plastic used in a little bit. And just so we have some sort of measure and notion of where this guy falls in terms of, you know, the size class, like in terms of recent history, here he is next to a Leader 1. And like, they seem the same size to me. You know, yeah, he seems like a Voyager. A lot of people have said that these guys have been downsized. I do feel like that's the case with the Deluxes. I don't particularly feel like with the Voyagers, maybe a little bit, but like, this scale's fine. But if we actually want to be true to ourselves, then we have to compare two figures that are the same size class, both Voyager, and they came in at the same price point. I have already said that the paint on the Siege is a 9. I liked the paint on the last night one. I thought it was well done. A lot of people complained and said, hey, it's not enough on there. Fine, fair enough, but I still think I probably gave it about a 9. I don't remember now. The articulation on the Siege Optimus, I just gave a 10 to. It's perfect articulation. I don't like the articulation on the Last Night Optimus. I think it's trash when it comes to the knees. The arms are great and whatnot, but the knees are pure trash on it. At this point, I would venture to say to you that Siege Optimus is teetering on being innocent and the price increase justified. But the Last Night one is certainly teetering on being guilty. You see, back when the price increase first came, I did kind of complain about it a lot, but I didn't do guilty or innocent. We have an opportunity here to do just that. But before we can kind of say guilty or innocent, it's only fair that we actually look at the plastic. And in terms of plastic content, Siege Optimus here with all of his accessories, in other words, everything that he is, comes in at 149 grams. Something such as the Evasion Mode Optimus came in at 123 grams. And like, I put some extra paint on him. Yes, I gave him a different blaster here, but obviously the Siege has more plastic in it. But I guess that makes sense since this guy was cheaper, right? What about something more recent? My custom Alita 1, she clocks in actually at 150 grams. So she's basically the same weight as Siege Optimus. Exact same weight. Well, actually she's a gram more. Of course, the gram more on her may have something to do with the custom paint app. Maybe there's a gram of paint on her. So, to be fair, a Voyager Optimus that cost the increased price against a Voyager Optimus that cost the increased price. This guy right here clocks in at 151 grams. He is 2 grams heavier than the Siege Optimus Prime. And so in terms of plastic content, there's no more here. He is no heavier. Anybody who says he is heavier, no, he's not. Actually, he's one of the lighter ones. But his playability, his extra playability is undeniable, and he tends to have, or he tends to feel like he has nicer tolerances mostly. That being said, full disclosure, this is the second Siege Optimus I had because mine had a QC issue initially. One of these front tires was not pegged in properly, it was just waiting to break. That is one QC issue I've heard of with Siege Optimus. I've also heard tell of QC issues with the back panels on the legs. That's 2 QC issues I've heard of with Siege Optimus. And I have also heard of these shoulder pieces coming off. That is 3. So results will definitely vary. Now, I took back that first one. I just exchanged them for this one. I have not had any tolerance issues at all with this guy. By my experience with the mold, he has exquisite articulation and great playability. And while he doesn't have extra plastic content, we're talking about an increase that's a little more palpable to begin with. I haven't quite made a verdict on it yet because that box was also unnecessary. Absolutely unnecessary. So here's where things stand. Overall right now, his score that he's getting is a 9.5, very strong Optimus. And in terms of guilty or innocent of the price increase, We don't have a full verdict yet, but he is falling to the side of innocent at this point in time. But of course, we still have a transformation to go, don't we? So since we have that transformation to go, I guess we might as well get started with it. I'm going to try and show this as simplistically and quickly as possible here. The back, you can take that off. A lot of people don't like this backpack. I don't know why. It's like a thruster pack. I mean, it's like you got Sideswipe's backpack on. I don't see the big deal. Turn it around. Flip this piece out, and you can even open out that little piece and that little red piece and flip the bumper. Flip the bumper out. And you sort of just leave all that for now. You can come here to the chest and open it up and open it up, and you can even put the head down and close it up for now. Then we come down to his legs, and you want to kind of pick off the back of the leg. Right there, there's a little like rectangular tab right there that goes into a slot in right there. So you pick that off, you turn the leg around. You can take the toes and the heel and straighten that out, and bring all of that down and straighten that out. Then you can start to bring those pieces up on the side. These tire pieces, I do think this is genius. These tire pieces, they rotate to the outside. And they rotate to the outside. And then really, if you want, you can peg those legs together. Now, you want to bend the waist, we'll say, back. But it's not just like, you can't take the front of it. Don't take the front here because you'll break that off. It's behind that. The whole thing flips back from behind there. Like that. Put those two pieces together again, because the legs do like to kind of pop apart a bit. Not a big deal, but you know, worth noting, I suppose. Then we can come here to these tires. The biggest pain on Optimus is these tires, at least in my experience. You need to, pick them down. Now there's a pin in here where they're pinned through. One of those pins was not in the position that it had to be in, it physically was not in the slot, and the tire was kind of on a squish. It was going to break off sooner or later, but luckily I can just take this tire and bring it down around the bottom here for now, out of the way. We do the same on this side over here, where we reach up and we bring the tire out and down in underneath. And things are looking pretty good so far. We take the arms and we bring them down, we bring that up, and we bring it in behind, and we do the classic like Optimus arm transformation with a couple of twists. This little piece down bottom flips out, we bring the shoulder in, we bring the arm into the body, and then we take this whole flap here and we flip it up on the side to make the side of the truck. If we do it on this side, we flip that piece out, we bring the arm down, we push it in behind, we push the arm in, we flip that piece up on the side. And that kind of gives us like our main truck mode. Oh, and I forgot to do this. These knee pieces also flip up. I always forget that. They're so easy to forget, but like it's awesome that they're included. And so there we are, here and here. I had to kind of root them out. They're not the easiest thing to root out. A lot of times they're forgotten, but they're there. So we will move on. Now we can take these pieces on the side and bring them up and over. And they kind of like, they tab in. I gotta bring this piece out to show you. There's a little rectangular tab there that goes into a slot right there. So these come up and they do tab in, and it's molded so that you get the full fender right here, and then you can bring the tire up. Same on this side. You fold that gray piece up, it tabs into the leg. to give us our full fender section here, and then we fold this piece up. Then the last step really is to open the chest again, and if you didn't have the head down before, you can do it now. You bring down the whole cab over section piece here and bring it in. Then you close those sections up right there. Close these little red sections on the side and tab the two lights into the bumper. And bring all that in, and then boom, in the end, here you have Optimus in his eyebrow truck mode. That is a beautiful, brilliant transformation. There's no doubt about it. It's absolutely fantastic. Now, that being said, if I had to grade the transformation, I'm going to call it also a 10. Everything is really, really, really nice with it. So he was 9.5. That's 10. He's a 9.75. This is a good Optimus Prime. The problem is this cab over section. I don't like it at all. That's not the only problem though. His accessory storage here is awful. The best I can come up with is basically, you know what, I almost don't even know how to show this. Okay, here's the best I can come up with. So we have a slot right here. Now you can put like his fusion cannon up on the roof. You can peg it in right here on the smokestacks. You can put it here on the side. I find that maybe have that on the side is less obtrusive. You could probably take this and put it along the back right there, like that. Or you could also take that out and open it up, and really using the end of the handle where the blast effect can go, there's a little hole in right there, and you can sort of push this in there so it rests on like the back here. It's not good accessory storage. In vehicle mode, I think I would advise laying the accessories aside. You see, here's the part that gets me. This is a movie Optimus, but the truck mode is unmistakably, beautifully G1. There's no doubt. This is kind of G1, but I don't like his eyebrows. That kills it for me. Now, I didn't compare his cab here with the Last Night cab because they're two completely different cab types. Obviously, one's movie and one is Cybertronian / G1. You could also compare it to the cab of the leader class figure, but again, I don't know if that's really a fair comparison. These two Voyagers here seem like the fairest comparison. I love the alt mode of this guy, I love the robot mode of this guy. Here's the thing, when I put the evasion mode cab with the second chance trailer, this is G1 Optimus Prime updated to me. It is perfect, absolutely perfect. I can find no flaw with the way this looks at all. But while I can sort of make the trailer work, this obviously doesn't look as nice. So what could help the Siege Optimus? Two things can help the Siege Optimus. Either some custom work. You could paint some of that bluish clear plastic or translucent plastic, a silver maybe, or a chrome if you're so inclined. You could even cut off his eyebrows and try and do something with that cab over section. What we really need, and why third party or somebody hasn't kind of jumped on this yet, is just a new cab over section. Like even the front of it is fine. We just need a new cab over section. And the beauty part is making a new cab over section for third party or something would be easy, because guess what? Thanks to Wesley, friend of the channel, he pointed out to me that you can actually take that whole thing off. It's just on with the mushroom peg, folks. You can take the entire thing off and slide on a more G1 accurate looking like roof and front section. Just saying. It, I think, would put this guy over the top as the quintessential Voyager class Optimus Prime. So, overall score form is a 9.75. he doesn't have any more plastic in him. He has an unnecessary box, but he does have incredible play value and stupendous articulation. Is he guilty or innocent when it comes to the price increase? Logically speaking, in terms of value for money, he's guilty. He absolutely is guilty. Wait for him to go on sale. But us fans, we like to justify things sometimes. And here is my justification. I have handled MP10 and I don't like it. I enjoy this guy more than I've ever enjoyed MP10 for 1 second of my life. That's saying something, because he is much smaller, a completely different line, supposed to be not as good, and I think he's exponentially better. So for that reason, because I can honestly say that I enjoy this Optimus pretty much more than any other Optimus I've ever held, he is actually going to squeak by as innocent. So it depends on you as a collector. If you're the sort that, you justify it as a fan because you like certain things, then yes, he's innocent. But if you're the sort who is kind of straight-laced and very much by the book in terms of, if I'm paying more, then I want that added value, then wait for this guy to go on sale. And so here we are once again, and this guy's so, it's like he's so difficult, not to grade, but to give the estimation of guilty or innocent. In terms of giving him a grade, he's fantastic. I mean, give him a new cab over and take off this kind of poorly done battle damage. I mean, there's a nice way to do this. This isn't it. But like, take that off and give him a new cab over section here, and I am hard pressed to find something about this guy not to like. That being said, when we get down to the dollars and cents of it, you're not getting any more here than you ever have in the past. Really. You're not. You're physically not getting any more. Maybe some of the additional cost is due to the packaging, but these guys have always come in boxes, so maybe not. Maybe, and this is where I think it comes in, the additional cost really comes into the I guess engineering that went into this. We have a lot of swivels and hinges. We do have better tolerances, although I have heard of several kind of QC tolerance issues with this guy. Mine has really avoided them, or at least my second version of him has avoided them. The consumer in me, just the average consumer, like if I was not a fan of this brand and I'm thinking just about going out and buying it for my kids, I would be disappointed that this is what I get for $40 plus tax. I would. As an average consumer, no, it's not. It's guilty. It's not worth that much. 30? Yeah, sure, maybe. But it's just, two $20 bills plus tax for this? I don't know. As an average consumer, okay? But as a fan of the franchise, and I am a fan of the franchise, and knowing what we've gotten in the past and the kind of limitations in terms of poorly executed conversion, or limitations in terms of limited shoulder movement or limited leg movement, like I realize all of those things about the past. And perhaps the one that has, for a lot of people, stood head and shoulders as the representation of Optimus Prime is that Classics Optimus. And he's great. He's still great to this day. But he doesn't quite capture the character as well as this guy does. At the end of the day, I think this is the benchmark to beat. And as a fan, I say he is innocent and the price increase is justified. But I will caveat it with this. A Voyager at $40 has hit the ceiling. If they go up anymore, I think I'm out. I think I'm out because it's just not worth it. They are at their ceiling. I think they were already at their ceiling. If they go up more, I'm afraid they might be pricing themselves out of the market. More and more things like third party will get a foothold because the differentiation between the cost of this and the cost of that is becoming more and more negligible. And it really will boil down to what you like. I get it. It's a difficult line to walk. So at the end of the day, if you're a fan like I'm a fan, then yeah, it's justified. Guaranteed. Because this is the benchmark. And I justify it with the simple justification of I like this better than the Masterpiece Optimus, which is touted as the best ever. I think I would even like it more than the version 3 that's going to be coming out, because that thing is definitely not worth the price. It is beyond guilty. It is like life sentence guilty. This is good. It's great. But as an average consumer, is it good enough? I don't think so. Anyway, let me know what you think about this guy. Do you think that it was warranted? He's definitely fantastic, and you probably should pick him up, but whether you get him at regular cost or on sale, well, that's going to be kind of up to you. I like him. I do. I like him. I'm hard-pressed to dislike anything about him. Let me know what you think about him. As always, I want to thank you for dropping by, for giving me some of your extremely valuable time. You know how appreciated it is. And I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit right here. And we're going to continue looking at this line inside the videos.